Today, we're going to discuss a very private and, sadly, very widespread problem that many of my patients mention, particularly those older than 60. I'm referring to waking up during the night to visit the bathroom. This issue, called nocturia, can make your evenings a true challenge. Many folks say the same to me. Doctor, I realize I could rest peacefully through the whole night if it wasn't for that ongoing need to use the toilet. And the hardest thing is, after rising at 2 in the morning, it's nearly impossible to drift off again. This goes beyond a mere annoyance. It's a repeated break in your rest that can leave you beginning your day feeling exhausted, weary, and out of sorts, rather than rested and cheerful. But I'm here to bring some really positive updates. Recent research has discovered a helpful and, most importantly, a natural way to tackle this trouble. And it's not a strong drug with a bunch of unwanted effects, but a basic building block of proteins known as glycine. This isn't mere rumor or ancient remedies. There are solid medical trials with real people that prove glycine particularly cuts down on how many times you stir awake at night. That said, we won't limit ourselves to just glycine. I'm going to explain a full plan to you, which includes additional aids and easy adjustments to your bedtime habits that, together, have restored my patients valuable, unbroken sleep at night. Not long ago, a research paper appeared in a well-known science magazine that holds great interest for us. This research didn't use mice in a lab, but actual people who, just like many of you, had strong needs to urinate often during the night. Researchers aimed to find out precisely how glycine influences this issue. They drew ideas from past tests on animals that suggested glycine might soothe an overly active bladder. Now, the moment had come to try it with people. The participants were divided into 2 sets. Over 4 weeks, one set got a placebo, a simple fake pill filled with ordinary sugar. The other set took 3 grams of glycine 2 times each day. The findings were remarkable. In the set given the placebo, nothing much changed. Yet those in the glycine set experienced a true advance. They not only began sleeping more soundly and restfully, they clearly had fewer trips to the bathroom all day long. The abrupt and powerful urges to urinate grew milder, and above all, for our purposes, they awoke far less during the night. But the most fascinating finding was this. Even when a person sensed the need to visit the bathroom at night, they could stay asleep much longer before that need grew intense enough to rouse them. Let me tell you why this matters so much. Many of my clients mention a turning point, waking up from 1:30 to 2:30 in the morning. Right then, the mind suddenly turns on. Ideas begin speeding through your head, and it gets very hard to fall asleep again. Just the step of rising from bed, or the glow from a bedside light. All these things work like a power switch for your body. Research found that using glycine helped folks rest without stirring until 4 or even 5 in the morning. For a person who heads to bed at 10 p.m., this feels like dozing through nearly the whole night. That's a major shift, and it helps explain why so many get stronger, deeper rest when using glycine. They just don't get yanked awake anymore by urges from their bladder. So, how does this basic helper create such a strong result? It boils down to the way glycine connects with our bodies at a basic, core level. It settles the urgent signal linking your mind and your bladder. Picture the way your brain and bladder connect as similar to a car's alarm system. If the bladder is just a bit full, it ought to give a soft, gentle alert. But for many people, this system becomes too sensitive. It starts blaring at full volume, like a siren, at the lightest touch, harshly pulling you from your sleep. Here, glycine works like a skilled repairman who fine-tunes how sensitive this warning system is. It soothes something known as the micturition reflex. This is a fancy medical phrase for the basic action of signaling that it's time to empty the bladder. Glycine basically says to your nerves, "No worry, this isn't urgent. We can hold off until the bladder is truly full." So, you no longer wake up because of fake or early warnings. Glycine serves as a carrier of calmness for your nervous system. The human body is a very intricate web for passing messages, and it relies on unique substances called neurotransmitters to handle this. Glycine isn't only a building block for proteins called an amino acid. It's also a key messenger that mainly instructs to settle down and unwind. It provides a soothing influence on the central nervous system, especially the brainstem and spinal cord, leading to a general feeling of tranquility. If we look a bit closer, glycine connects with unique receivers in our brain known as NMDA receptors. Picture them like the main dial that sets the volume for your whole nervous system. Glycine softly lowers this dial, easing the general activity level in your nerves. This does more than just reduce how often you feel the need to use the bathroom. It also makes it easier to drift off to sleep quicker and enjoy deeper, more restful slumber. Remarkably, glycine acts in two ways right together. It soothes the control center in the brain, while also lessening the responsiveness of the nerve tips directly in the bladder region. With so many folks turning to the web each day for relief from this draining issue, it's really odd that this straightforward and helpful fix doesn't come up in conversations more. I'd like to tell you about one of my patients. We'll name him John. At age 63, he was a firm doubter. When I first mentioned glycine to him, he laughed lightly and said, "Doctor, I've tried plenty of remedies before. I don't think a simple powder will make a difference." But his wife, who noticed his nightly battles, urged, "Dear, why not try it out? What's the risk? Just give it a chance." John's problem was very hard. For many years, he kept waking up 3 or 4 times each night. The hardest part for him was stirring around 2 or 3 in the morning. Then, he would stay awake for hours, gazing at the ceiling, as his thoughts began running through all his fears and troubles. In the morning, he would rise feeling totally worn out, with a foggy head and a sour mood. It touched every part of life: his job, his moments with his grandchildren, and his bond with his wife. Hesitantly, after yielding to his wife's urging, John began taking glycine each evening. The first few nights, he saw nothing unusual, but by the close of that first week, an event took place that even he found hard to accept. He phoned me, and with real excitement shared that, for the first time in many years, he had stirred only once during the night, and that was near 6 in the morning. To him, it seemed like a wonder. He started enjoying a whole night's rest once more. He felt a rush of energy that he had not known for a long time. His wife smiled and remarked that her gentle and happy husband had come back at last. John's experience shows clearly how one easy shift can greatly enhance your daily well-being. Before we turn to other supplements, let's create a strong base. A few body-based methods have proven very helpful to my clients. First step, clear away. Swelling from the day. As the day goes on, because of the pull of gravity, extra liquid can gather in our lower legs, particularly around the ankles. Picture your legs like a pair of sponges gradually taking in water. As you settle down to rest at night, that liquid begins to shift back into your blood flow, reaches your kidneys, and becomes waste to pass, which can rouse you from sleep in the dark hours. We can beat this pattern. Roughly an hour before bedtime, stretch out on the sofa or your mattress and raise your legs, resting them on several cushions. Aim to keep your feet positioned above the level of your heart. Hold this pose for 20 to 30 minutes. In the meantime, you might enjoy a book or some soothing tunes. This easy method turns gravity to your advantage, shifting the surplus liquid from your legs and returning it to your body, allowing your kidneys to handle it prior to drifting off. Second step, the double voiding technique. This is another important step, particularly for men with prostate problems or women with weaker pelvic floor muscles. Frequently, even when we believe we've fully emptied our bladder, a little urine remains. The double voiding technique is quite easy. Just before heading to bed, use the bathroom as you usually do. Take your time. Once finished, stay seated instead of standing up. Pause for 30 to 60 seconds, relax, and breathe deeply a few times. Next, lean forward a bit and try to urinate once more. It may surprise you, but usually more urine, sometimes a fair amount, will come out. This method makes sure you begin the night with the emptiest possible tank. Step 3. Create the perfect sleep environment. Your bedroom ought to be like your cave, a special haven for rest. Ensure the room stays cool, best at about 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. A cooler setting tells your body that it's bedtime. The room needs to be fully dark. Any kind of light, such as from a phone display, a TV's status light, or an outdoor street lamp, might interfere with making melatonin, the hormone for sleep. Try heavy curtains that block all light or a soft eye mask for comfort. Lastly, keep an eye on the air's moisture level. Air that's too dry, above all in the cold months, might bother the tissues in your throat and nose. This could lead to coughing and waking you. A basic humidifier can make a real difference. After you get comfortable with these simple habits, you can try some extra aids. Magnesium, but be careful with it. Magnesium is a fine aid for easing tension. Yet, a big amount taken in one go can actually rouse your kidneys. Rather than swallowing the full serving, say 500 mg, just before sleep, I suggest to my clients dividing it. 250 mg at supper, and the remaining 250 mg 1 hour before bed, along with the glycine. This provides a gentler release and avoids overwhelming your body. The best way to drink water. This is a key rule. Make it a routine to drink most of your water during the early part of the day. In the morning, try adding a small amount of good sea salt or electrolytes to your water. This aids your body's cells in keeping hold of water more effectively. But after 5 or 6 p.m., cut way back on liquids. Take just tiny sips, enough only to ease your thirst. A little creatine in the morning. Don't worry about this idea. It's not only for weightlifters. A tiny amount of creatine, like the end of a teaspoon. First thing in the morning helps your muscles keep water within the cells. This lowers the total dryness in your body and cuts down on the urge to sip drinks all day long. Carbohydrates at dinner. This may seem against what you'd expect, but a modest serving of complex carbohydrates, like sweet potato, buckwheat, or quinoa, 3 hours before bedtime can really help. Carbohydrates prompt the body to release insulin, and insulin then assists in holding on to sodium and water. A low insulin level, by contrast, can work like something that makes you lose water. So, a light, nutritious evening meal with some carbohydrates can delay that nighttime bathroom visit until morning. I truly hope these thorough suggestions will assist you and your family in reclaiming what's yours: a calm, restful, and unbroken sleep at night. It is completely possible. Begin with small steps, stay steady, and you'll surely notice the improvements.